I immediately saw it, was way outside the norm of what I've experienced in the past.
Well, the first IRS whistleblower to make allegations about Hunter Biden's investigation has spoken out for the first time. Gary Shapley, a long-time IRS employee, is the unnamed whistleblower whose attorneys wrote to Congress seeking legal protection for him last month. He wanted to come forward to members of Congress and give evidence into why he thought this investigation was being improperly handled. The letter to Congress last month, sent by his attorney Mark Lytle, read that the whistleblower wanted to make protected disclosures, including showing evidence that contradicts testimony to Congress by a senior political appointee, involve failure to mitigate clear conflicts of interest in the ultimate disposition of the case, and detail examples of preferential treatment and politics improperly infecting decisions and protocols that would normally be followed by career law enforcement professionals in similar circumstances if the subject were not politically connected. Gary Shapley cannot name who the subject of the investigation is. In fact, it hasn't been publicly confirmed by any member of the IRS or the DOJ. However, congressional sources have said it is Hunter Biden, and CBS has also backed that up. This investigation into Hunter Biden has been operating out of Delaware since 2018, led by Trump-appointed attorney David Weiss. It is looking at whether the president's son committed tax crimes, money laundering, and making a false statement in relation to the purchase of a firearm. The IRS's involvement is to figure out whether Hunter Biden did fail to pay taxes from the millions of dollars he received from foreign businesses that he was associated with. Despite the fact that this probe has been going on for 5 years, Hunter Biden is yet to be charged with a crime. And that's even after there were reports last year that claimed agents had enough evidence to charge him. In an interview with CBS, Gary Shapley, who was the supervisor on the investigation, said this probe has had multiple steps being slow-walked.
There was multiple steps that were slow-walked at the direction of the Department of Justice.
Had you ever encountered that before?
I have not, no. These deviations from normal process, and each and every time it seemed to always benefit the subject.
Gary Shapley's statement on CBS read, "There were multiple steps that were slow-walked, were just completely not done at the direction of the Department of Justice. When I took control of this particular investigation, I immediately saw deviations from the normal process. It was way outside the norm of what I've experienced in the past." Now, the reference there to the DOJ has made headlines in the past week or so because Gary Shapley and his entire team of 12 were taken off the investigation. This move has been labelled as retaliation by his attorneys. Attorneys Mark Lytle and Tristan Leavitt wrote to members of Congress and included in it an email the second whistleblower, an employee in Gary's team, wrote to the IRS Commissioner after he was booted from the probe after having been on it since it began in 2018. The letter read, "On April 27, 2023, IRS Commissioner Daniel Werfel appeared before the House Committee on Ways and Means. He testified, 'I can say without any hesitation there will be no retaliation for anyone making an allegation or a call to a whistleblower hotline. However, this move is clearly retaliatory and may also constitute obstruction of a congressional inquiry.' That was coupled with an email sent from the second whistleblower who wrote to Commissioner Daniel Werfel. 'I was not afforded the opportunity of a phone call directly from my special agent in charge or assistant special agent in charge, even though this has been my investigation since the start. There is a human impact to the decisions being made that no one in the government seems to care about or understand. The ultimate decision to remove the investigatory team without actually talking with that investigatory team, in my opinion, was a decision made not to side with the investigators, but to side with the US Attorney's Office and the Department of Justice, who we have been saying for some time has been acting inappropriately.' Yesterday, Daniel Werfel, without going into detail about the investigation, confirmed the decision to remove the team from the probe was at the direction of the DOJ. The IRS whistleblower you will reference alleges that the change in their work assignment came at the direction of the Department of Justice. As a general matter and not in reference to any specific case, I believe it is important to emphasise that in any matter involving federal judicial proceedings, the IRS follows the direction of the Justice Department, while also claiming he has unequivocally never intervened in the investigation in a way that would impact a whistleblower. But this story just keeps heating up, with a microscope being put on the president's son. Will or won't such a public figure like Joe Biden's son be prosecuted for a potential crime? And is the Department of Justice politicised or compromised like Republicans say it is?